Why did you choose Ken Agyapong?
I chose Ken Agyapong precisely for some of the reasons that I have stated. I have been in politics since my students' days. I was in TESCON. I was Honorable Kojo Redu Special Assistant. I was government spokesperson on finance. I was a deputy minister in the first Nado administration. I have sat in parliament as the finance committee chair. I now chair the budget committee. What saddens me is the lack of political courage to confront the problems we have as a country frontally. We have reduced politics almost to come get what you can get for yourself as an individual, and when you leave the scene, that's it. The country will take care of itself. And the biggest motivation in politics today, it's not so much to fix the system for the collective good. Our biggest motivation as politicians, all of us included, it's almost how you can line your own pocket and appropriate the resources of the state for your own purposes. Now, the reforms that are needed to fix the system, a system that I think must be disinfected, would require a certain character. And when I look at the political landscape, I do not see any politician who has the courage and gives me hope that we can confront this unhelpful status quo in any meaningful way, except Ken Agyapong.
Look, what has he done to give you this?
It is not what he has done. It is his character. We are sick and tired of the suit-wearing, impeccable English-speaking politicians who come here, deliver beautiful speeches at the United Nations, and they come home and deliver very sloppy leadership that continues to plunge the future of our youth into some disadvantage. And I think it is time we wake up to see that the political leadership we have provided Ghanaians has been suboptimal as politicians, and therefore I want to see real reforms happen. I want to see people who can disrupt the status quo. The status quo of borrowing, awarding contracts, taking kickbacks, and then you leave a country getting poorer and poorer. You have a teeming youth. The youth we're churning out of our universities. What work are they going to do? We need the kind of leadership that has the courage, and I dare say that has the madness to confront the status quo and to give this country a chance of a better future. It is a reason I'm supporting Ken Agyapong. He has his faults, all of us do, but there is a character in him that I think Ghana needs now until we get that kind of ruthless leadership that is willing to disrupt the unhelpful status quo that has sent a country like Ghana to an IMF 19 times. If you add the structural adjustment program and HIPC, 19 times. A proud country like Ghana, why?
Would have taken the one that's, would have taken out of the 19, would have minused the assurances from Ken Ofori-Atta, won't go to the IMF. Unfortunately, we have to add it to make it 19.
Well, yes. Look, when we got into government as MPP in 2017, I remember the then President Hon Kwaku Kwarteng was even uncomfortable with Ghana being an IMF program and hoped that we could get out of the IMF program immediately. And the ministry, those of us at the ministry, needed to convince the bigger government that you can't do that because the market would hit us back badly. All right, so our desire as NPP never to get into the IMF was genuine. The reason we failed, and along the line we needed to eat humble pie and go for an IMF program, is that we failed to do the reforms that were required to really place Ghana in a position like Botswana that would say we would never need the IMF. We failed to do those reforms. So at some point, you needed to eat humble pie and to say, we said we wouldn't do it, but we're going to do it. I know, I hear people say, yes, but COVID was hurtful. COVID was. But let's face it, Like COVID itself, those whose immune system were strong survived it. Those that had weak immune systems were badly affected by COVID. Ghana already had underlying problems, and therefore COVID hit us that badly. So the point I'm making is this. I want to see the leadership that can provide something different from what we have been seeing. I want to see a leadership that has a greater sense of urgency. I want to see a no-nonsense leader that can confront the wrong things that have almost become acceptable in politics. And when I looked across the political landscape again, I don't see anybody that has sufficient character to do this. All right? Than Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. It is a reason we are supporting him. We will support him. I'm confident he would win. And my prayer is that when he wins, God gives him the strength, the vision, to disrupt the unhelpful things we've been doing to our country and to set this country on a path to prosperity.
One cannot take politics out of governance, regardless.
Yes.
The core is very much. Are you not afraid that based on a person's character purely, you would want to entrust him with such a decision or with such a choice of leading the country, where you have the option of somebody who's tried it before? They can admit what they didn't do well. I mean, of course, because even you were part of the previous government and you could see, you have experienced what was done wrong. Is that not an easy choice than to base your choice based on a person's character only?
Well, it's not just character, but let me answer the C. What you're saying, it is the comfortable way of going about things. And that is how we have treated the development of this country. We want to do the comfortable things. We want to have leaders, and if you're a leader, we want the one that is calm, the one that you can say anything to and he says, oh, it's okay. And that kind of fit the image. And they are afraid to confront issues. They are very good with the English and the theories, and we have been doing that again and again, and this country is getting worse and worse and worse. Our unemployed youth are getting more and more. The industry is not growing, and we want to continue doing things the same old way of getting the comfortable things done. I want a disruptor. I want somebody who can disrupt, and Kennedy Agyapong is the hope. The hope in terms of standing a chance of disrupting the culture, the subcultures in politics that continues to keep us back. That sends us to IMF, irrespective of which political party is in office. Sends us to IMF every now and then. I want a disruptor. And we have one in Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. I think Ghanaians must support him. Look, people like Kennedy Agyapong, they come once in a while in politics.
How do you say so?
When I say they come once in a while, you have your Kwame Nkrumah, for instance, all right, explodes on the scene. It wasn't that people were not fighting for independence. In fact, the lawyers and the big men of my tradition at the time also had strong feelings about getting his independence. Until Kwame Nkrumah exploded on the scene and said, look, I have seen what these guys have done in South Africa. If you allow them to take roots, it would cost a lot more bloodshed to get our independence. So we want the independence now. People like that have a character and a sense of urgency to cause things to happen. And those people, when they explode on the scene, they always bring about change. Like Honorable Kennedy Agyapong, I am a fan of Dr. Kwame Nkrumah, and I can't wait to see that kind of leadership again, a leadership that has a sense of urgency. You see, in Burkina Faso, we have a young man, Traore, and he's now changing things because he's willing to confront the status quo. Margaret Thatcher did it for Britain from 1979 coming. Lee Kuan Yew did it for Singapore. We are sick and tired of the administrators, all right, who have no clear vision and passion to change things. They just want to get power and and run around power and do the propaganda, borrow, give contracts, and we do that and we leave power.
Are you concerned about the role a political party will play in even governance, especially when the person, Kennedy Agyapong, you've said all the fine things about him, but are you concerned that regardless, if he becomes a flag bearer, the political party, the vision of the party as well, and what they would want for a country would also come to play?
Well, that is there, but look, a great leader has a way of bringing people along. The discussion we're having this morning,
Smart Gan update.
It's not the first time. This is not the first time we're having this kind of discussion as a country.
Smart Gan
There are a lot
update.
of people out there who are sick and tired of the kind of political leadership they've been getting. In the last election, as we went around campaigning, look at the voter turnout. The reason it was low was that people think this democracy is not delivering for us. We don't want to go and queue and vote for people who come and they don't confront our problems. Look, even the NDC that won, for instance, in the Volta region, the NDC presidential candidate got less votes in 2024 than he did in 2020. What should that tell you? That tells you that the population of Ghanaians who are beginning to lose confidence in the political elite and who think that this democracy is not delivering are getting more and more. And it is a reason, unlike in the early 90s, now Ghanaians say, well, if it is a soldier man who will fix this country, why not? I'm coming. I'm making the point that people are saying that because they are sick and tired of the kind of political leadership they are getting. What I am saying to you is that to stand a chance of disrupting that unhelpful status quo and giving Ghana a different direction, you would need a certain character. And at this point, for us in the NPP, I think it's Kennedy Agyapong who has that character. The party will rally around him. Look, when a leader articulates a clear vision and demonstrates that they have the character to prosecute that agenda, trust me, people will fall in line. It's not just the NPP as a party that will fall in line. Many Ghanaians that would see that this feels different, trust me, would follow him. And I believe that he also has the charisma to assist the party to win the next election in 2028. I think of all the candidates that have presented themselves, Kennedy Agyapong stands the chance of leading the party to victory in 2028 for two reasons. Not only is he an unconventional politician, a different kind of politician, he also has the strength of character that you would require for a party to have when you're going into an election that from Ablekuma North and Akwetia has the tendency to be violent. You need a character that the opposition would look at and say, look, it is in our collective interest that we do this thing peacefully, because this is a character that can match us, if you like, boot for boot. That is also there. But for me, it is even not just winning political power, all right, that makes me like Honorable Kennedy Agyapong. I have been in parliament with him, and I am telling you that that kind of character, you don't get them often in politics. Look, the kind of character that the Kwame Nkrumahs, the Lincoln used, the Margaret Thatchers, the Traore's, they don't come every now and then. If in your generation you are lucky to have one, you grab him. I think Kennedy Agyapong is cast in that mood, and some of us would just love to see how a Kennedy Agyapong presidency would look like.
How is the race going so far? I'm certain you've done a few tours.
Yes, the race is going very well. I think this election, MPP primaries, would produce an outcome that would surprise many, because I have seen many of my colleagues assume that a certain outcome is going to happen because of where we're coming from. We all voted for a candidate in 2024, and it is hard for people to believe that such a candidate could be upstaged.
What is he telling delegates, though?
We are telling delegates that we are sick and tired of the bad governance.
They believe it?
They do. Look, the things I'm saying this morning, you should hear me discuss that with delegates and tell them.
They feel the same?
They feel, but do you not feel the same? Do you like, look, Ghana at independence was on the same level with Singapore. Are you happy with where we are? And what has contributed to where we are? What has contributed to where we are is the kind of timid leadership that is interested in lining our own pockets, borrowing, awarding contracts, taking kickbacks. And then in the end, if I can finish on this important point, and then in the end, we just leave the scene, get into a position, start blaming the government for things that we ourselves also did when we were in government, and hope that, oh, Ghanaians will just change us. That is what has happened. And people are beginning to walk away from voting because they think this kind of democracy is not delivering for them. We are telling the delegates that it is the MPP that can deliver this country, and for MPP to play that role, I'll end shortly, for MPP to play that role, you will need a character that has the capacity to lead that, and the delegates are buying into it.
Okay.
And I think...
I don't know if it's just me.
Yes.
But this character, which you say they're tired of, timid characters,
yes,
right? I mean, the character that I will associate Kennedy with before he wanted to be president, before he said he wanted to be a candidate, was bold, fearless, and all of that. I don't know if it's just me, but I've seen a few clips of him during campaign currently, and he's a bit more sober. He's quite sober than before.
Well, of course...
Has anything changed about him?
Well, what has changed is that, you know, a strong character also has a tendency to have excesses. All right? And I think as a person grows, you begin to see which excesses you must cut off. All right? If Kennedy Agyapong is being seen to be more sober, he's cutting out the excesses. But look, he was in my constituency the day before yesterday, and the things he said reflected a character that is the Kennedy Agyapong we know. But I am happy that some of the excesses, confrontation, verbal confrontation with people, some of the ways he expressed even his anger, I am happy to see that he is trying to address that. But to be honest with you, I am not one of those who are advising Kennedy Agyapong that he should present a certain gentle look. The kind of character we need to deal with the rot we have been living with should not be a calm, gentle character. And so, when people advise him and they say, well, it might be for electoral reasons that Ghanaians have a way of seeing their leaders. So try and play that. Maybe that helps. I don't know. But for me,
people don't want to experiment. They're afraid to experiment.
Look,
for election,
look. When your country has been going to IMF every 3 years and a half,
what's there not to experiment anymore?
Why do you want to maintain it? You have to experiment. You need to do something different. And there's a saying in Akan that says, "Se usro our jaya, unya our papada." Unless Ghanaians divorce this timid kind of leadership that is just interested in self-aggrandizement, a leadership that thinks that we are in this for ourselves. If Ghanaians don't want to divorce that leadership, we are never going to get a good spouse.
What's your greatest fear of the choice you've made?
I won't call it a fear, but my prayer, and those of us around Kennedy Agyapong, we sometimes have this discussion.
I've heard the prayer. I want the fear.
Well, no. You must listen to my prayer before you say what I mean. When I say, well, my fear, if you like, is electing Kennedy Agyapong. I think he's going to win the primaries. I think he'll win the main election, and maybe the character, the fire that we want to see, we might not have as much. That is my fear. And therefore, we pray about that all the time. And that is why I get a bit uncomfortable when people start telling him that be more sober and be more gentle. Yes, cut out some of the excesses, but we need that fire. But again, if I have fear, in respect of a particular character, I think he can do the job. You can imagine for the other characters, I know it won't happen.
You say that you're quite sure that this election
will win. I think Kennedy will win the primaries and he will win the main election.
Okay, so who are you hoping to pair with him? Because you're already so sure. So I like to think you're planning your life already towards 2028. Who are you pairing him with?
As his running mate.
Yeah.
Well, he will make that. No, he will make that decision and he will present it to the party for endorsement when the time.
He's not discussed a few.
No, he has. In fact, some of us have advised that people sometimes come to the campaign and they want to provide support and they want assurances of certain positions. And we're very clear that this is the kind of politics that this man is being presented to frustrate. This idea of politics all being about what you get and what position you get. And so let us prosecute the agenda. Let us finish. Let him win the primaries. Let him win the main election. When he wins after the primaries, the party together with the candidate would give us a running mate. And then after that, we will go and win the election, and he will look for people of like minds who can help him to fix this broken system. And that is our hope.
Is this campaign causing any kind of rifts in the party at all?
Well, competitions always have a way of creating differences, and you might hear things that are unpleasant from various people. So we are having a few of that in this primaries. But NPP, we are capable of rallying again. Once we elect a leader, whoever that leader would be, I think he will be Kennedy Agyapong. I think the NPP is capable of burying the past, rallying behind that person, especially if he has a strong message. It is very easy to rally around him. But look, let me say this. When Kennedy Agyapong wins the primaries, the kind of campaign we're going to launch, the kind of hope we will give to the population that this is a different kind of politics. This is different kind of, it's a different kind of a political project we are bringing. All of you cannot help but admire the project because you see, buried in each of us, whether you are NPP, you are NDC, is the desire to see a better country. And we are resigned to sometimes treating politics as some kind of hearts and protocol. You just support them.
Which one are you, by the way?
I'll come to that. Obwasi Sporting Club.
Ah.
But the point I'm making is this, that whether NPP or NDC, there is something in all of us that want to see change. The reason we have resigned ourselves to this partisan, I support this and that's where I am, is because all politicians have proven to be the same. They come, they talk, they mess things up, they go into opposition saying, that is what we have been. So people just think that that is what we can have. As soon as people begin to see that there is a new project on the table, trust me, people will rally. We would win this election as NPP. And when we do, we will fix this country.